My name is Alina Adams. I was born in Odessa, USSR. I wrote 3 books set in the Soviet Union. My daughter was born in America. I'm going to tell her about the Soviet experience through books. This week, our book is The Genius Under the Table, Growing Up Behind the Iron Curtain by Eugene Yelchin. We rarely do children's books, but I really liked this one, and we've also done another one of his. We did Breaking Stalin's Nose. So before we get into the deep discussion, I want to point out 2 things that while reading this book opened my eyes. First, some of you know I've had a lot of lives. I used to work for ABC Sports in their figure skating coverage department. So as I was reading The Genius Under the Table, and Eugene, this is autobiographical, says he has a brother named Victor who's a competitive figure skater. And I'm thinking, hey, I know all the figure skaters. Who could this be? He's probably making it up. Oh, wait, Victor Yelchin, Eugene Yelchin. I never made that connection. I've interviewed Victor. I certainly knew who Victor was, and I never made that connection. So that was first one thing. And then the other thing is that the character's mother, she works at the theater where Baryshnikov performs. And in our house, my father is one of those people who says that anything one person can figure out how to do, another person can figure out how to do. And then he always says, except dance like Baryshnikov. So in our house, Baryshnikov has sort of been the example of, you can't learn to be Baryshnikov, you can't want to become Baryshnikov. Baryshnikov is his own solitary entity. And that's sort of how the mother in this book reacts to Baryshnikov as well. So that was really funny. Oh, and the other fun thing is that your brother, he was in a pre-professional dance program for 11 years, and they used the Vaganova method, and Baryshnikov studied under the Vaganova method. Your brother's not Baryshnikov, so your father was, my father, your grandfather, was right about that. So those were just sort of the little personal things. Now, the last time we discussed one of Eugene's books, we did Breaking Stalin's Nose, and we talked about all the philosophical topics about should you tell children about the bad things that have happened in history, especially if it's connected to them. I mean, the joke here is you have a Soviet Jewish mother and an African-American father. We could basically sit you down and start telling you all the bad things that have happened, and you'd still be sitting here listening to bad things. So we discussed the reasons why you should tell children about history. We discussed how. So we covered that in his last book. With this one, I want to talk about something a little bit different. So the reason this book is called The Genius Under the Table is because Eugene talks about how in the Soviet Union, in order to sort of rise above your very basic circumstances, which were very, very bad, you had to do something special. You had to be something special. His brother, for instance, became a figure skater because as a top figure skater, not only would you get to leave the country and travel, which is something that was not available to a lot of Soviet citizens, but you might get your own apartment. You might have access to a car. You can shop in special food stores. There were some food stores that were only available for party members and for highly respected people. So his brother was a figure skater, and his mother and his father keep telling him that if you survive in the Soviet Union, you have to be something special too. So first he thinks he's going to dance like Baryshnikov because his mother loves Baryshnikov so much, he figures Baryshnikov must be the be-all end-all. But then it turns out A, he doesn't like it, and B, he's not any good at it. So he actually becomes an artist, and he is quite good at it. If you look through this book is illustrated. It has lovely, lovely pictures. So he became successful, but they left the Soviet Union anyway, which was the best part. But the thing that I want to talk about today is you spent what, a decade of your life as a competitive rhythmic gymnast. You started out as a little girl who couldn't quite get into those leotards or figure out how to put her hair up in a bun, and you ended up as an international competitor, but you were doing it for you. At least I think you were doing it for you. Maybe on this video we'll find out that I was wrong this decade, but it's very different from the pressure of saying you have to do something special in order to pretty much support your entire families. There are kids who in Eastern Europe who were shown to have some kind of musical potential or athletic potential, and they were taken away from their homes and they were put into special schools. But as a result, their parents might get a monthly stipend, or their parents might get some food, or the kids would be smuggling food out of these schools to bring to their parents. So it was a whole different level of pressure. So my question to you is, did you feel a pressure when you were competing to be extraordinary, or was this just something you were doing?
I don't think I felt the pressure to be extraordinary. I also competed under different circumstances. So, like, I competed for a team that people didn't expect to win or do well. They definitely didn't expect me to do well. So I always got the little underdog energy, so I never had to worry that people expected me to win, really. But I do remember the difference between competing for like a team or like a club versus competing for like a country. It's a lot more because like when you're like when I was competing for like U.S., people would be like, "Oh, how'd the competition go? Like, did you bring home a medal?" And I'd be like,
Well,
"Funny
wait a minute.
story."
When you competed at the Maccabi Games, you told me that your responsibility was just to finish in the top half. Because if you finish in the top half, then the other team members who were really good would do their routines, and then you guys would win the silver medal. You guys didn't think you could get anything higher than silver because the Israelis sent their national team, and you were just like, what? Just you. So the parental pressure in the Genius Under the Table comes from the fact that not just the usual thing, parents want their kids to succeed, parents want to be able to boast about their kid. No, these parents want their kids to survive. These parents are telling them, if you are not special, if you are not a genius, if you don't show some kind of great results in athletics or arts or something else, it's not a matter that you won't have the kind of life that I can, put a bumper sticker on my car, my kid's an Olympic athlete. It's more like you might not survive in the Soviet Union. Be grateful that I brought you to America, because my child would not have been the genius under the table. If you'd like to make a genius under the table, or if you're convinced that, like my child, you have no genius under the table, still a great book, Genius Under the Table, Eugene Yelchin.